the more noise you make, the more fun we have. Let me just for the sake of appreciating the illustration, let me turn that light off for a second. Ooh, Charlie's Angels. Okay, so the idea for this show came to me about 4 or 5 years ago. I was on the road with my one-man show, Moliere Than Thou, traveling through the southeastern states, and somebody came up to me after a particularly successful show and said, you know, you really ought to submit your resume to the local Shakespeare Festival because I understand that they're still looking for their Macbeth. Angels and ministers of grace defend us. And it struck me at the time because nobody had ever looked at me before and said, hey, there's our Macbeth. Angels and ministers of grace defend us. You can say that too. Angels and ministers of grace defend us. Very good. And so I realized that I was evolving into my middle years. And there were all kinds of roles that were not available to me back when I was a dweeby theater major undergrad that I could now begin to start exploring. And I started thinking about all those great Shakespearean parts that I would love to take on. And wouldn't it be great if I could turn my performance tour into an audition tour, and I could go around to all the various Shakespeare festivals and audition for all those great roles that were out there. And well, what would I audition with? And I started thinking about all the great speeches that I could do, and wouldn't it be cool if no matter what show that they were doing that summer, I could do a piece from that show, so that I could say, what, you're doing Coriolanus and Pericles and Henry VI Part 4? Great, let me do those for you. And so I started memorizing stuff, but the idea of the audition tour never quite manifested itself as these projects happen. But I started thinking of it as kind of a parlor game, or a workshop, or a book, or ultimately a one-man show. And as I thought about it as a one-man show, I started thinking about what order would I put all these monologues in to make some kind of sense out of them. I could put them into chronological order, in the order that the events depicted in the plays happened in time. Or I could put them chronologically in the order that Shakespeare actually wrote them. Or I could put them in the order within which they occur within their various plays, the Act 1 monologues through the Act 5 monologues. Or I could put it to a vote and let the audience all choose collectively what they want to see done, and I could do the most popular ones, and maybe that might make the Democrats happy. Or I could do it like the rock concert, and everybody could call out their favorites, and I would do the requests of the people who shouted the loudest, and that might make the Republicans happy. Or, ultimately, I decided, screw it, I'm going to do it entirely at random. Woo! Yes! In this cage are 38 bingo balls, each labeled with the title of a play by Shakespeare. And whatever ball comes out of the chute, that sounds disgusting, I know, that's the monologue that I am going to perform. Now, since this randomness precludes any possibility of a narrative thread, what I'm going to do instead is make a game out of this, and so rather than playing bingo, we are going to play a game of Iago. What we're going to do is we're going to each take just one card, just grab one and pass it along, grab one and pass it along. I'll collect them back at the opposite end. And grab one, pass it over, grab one, etc., etc. You get the drill. And the first person to get 4 across, 4 up and down, or 4 on a diagonal who shouts out Iago gets this fabulous Moliere Than Thou t-shirt. And I will be happy to autograph it for you. Oh my God! While you're still wearing it. No way! We got enough? Are we covered? We're not. We don't have enough. Here we go.
This is insane.
We have extras at this end. We need one more.
I'll just keep these two.
You cannot play more than one bingo card.
You had some boxers that you could autograph while he's wearing it.
We're good. Okay, so now there's one. Let's see. One caveat is that it is that you. While I will stick to the program, but you can bribe me For $10 or more, I will do the monologue of your request, or at least a monologue from a play of your request. The only deal being it can't be the last box on your card to fill up to win the Iago game. But other than that, I'm going to do it entirely at random. I do reserve the right for veto power. If we find that we've done, say, 5 history plays in a row, I might step in and say, let's set this one aside. But other than that, we'll keep it moving. And in order to keep it moving, I'm going to limit myself to a single sentence of introduction for each play. Some of them may have a lot of clauses and winding through them, but I'm going to limit myself to one sentence, if only to reveal just how accessible these plays are, as opposed to their reputation, which is being difficult and distant. So, is that all we need to know? I think that's all we need to know. I've set the timer for 1 hour and 15 minutes, and I'm going to get in as many monologues as I can in that amount of time, and we are off to the races. So without further much ado, I am going to spin my